Hello, and welcome to Our Town. This is on Eagle Communications, channel number 2, and this is our program where we talk to folks that make our communities great. And today we have our guests are Annie Hookman. How are you?
Nice to meet you. Good. How are you?
Good. And Travis Bartley. And they're with the Abilene Baseball Club. There's your cap and your logo right there. So if you see those around town, you see them on on people's license plates, you kind of know they're associated with this organization. So we're going to visit a little bit today about the history of the ball club and the services they provide and the teams, and then also let's talk about the future. So Travis,
Yep.
I know you've been involved with the organization for a very long time. Kind of tell us a little bit about what the genesis of the Abilene Baseball Club was.
It started back in, I believe, 98, 99, somewhere's in there. My parents and my grandmother started it, also with the help of Jim and Kim Finema and several others. So I mean, it's been around for quite a while, and my grandmother at the time helped fundraise it, but now it's kind of taking care of itself, fundraising. We've been doing a lot of the fundraising, and so I mean, it's 20 years right now.
20 plus years. I didn't know that, and I mean, I've been aware that you guys have been around and didn't know that full story there. So it's a nonprofit organization, correct? Mm-hmm. And Annie, what kind of board, what kind of structure is there associated with it?
I believe so. I'm only on my second year on the board here, just entering my second year, so I'm pretty new. But I believe 2013 or 2014 is when the organization became a nonprofit organization. So they have bylaws. We have bylaws that are written, declaring what our mission is, what services we hope to provide. Basically, kind of the overall mission is that we want kids to have an opportunity to play baseball in this town.
Sure.
And there is an executive board. So I am vice president of the executive board. We have a president, a secretary, treasurer, and then a logistics coordinator. So we do have a business meeting. It's always, I believe, the first Tuesday. Monday in November.
Yep.
So you can look for those in the paper. That's open to the public. Anyone can attend. That is where we take care of budget, bylaw changes, election of board members. All of those kinds of items get taken care of. Action items get taken care of in November.
Sure, absolutely. And I had coached rec ball through the Abilene, and actually that's our backdrop here. We are at the baseball complex here in Abilene, and I coached rec ball for a couple of years, and this past year, our son is 8. And so I think that's almost the youngest group is the 8U team, correct? Mm-hmm. Correct. So what are the age groups and what are the leagues that are available and the tournaments, and just kind of give us a background of where these kids are going to play and those types of things.
Well, I mean, we've got really technically up from 8U to all the way to 18. We did at the time we could field a team as young as 7. So I mean, that's kind of the age we start. Anyways, we got. From our travel ball, I mean, we've from machine pitch all the way to senior Babe Ruth is what we've been playing in the summer. A lot of our teams from that 8 to 14 is playing U-Trip right now. And then we've also got the Dixon County League, same age groups, just offers more baseball there. So,
Yeah, well, see, when I was playing ball, there was just Little League. That's all there was,
Yep.
and you got the teams that you could put together, and I don't know that we traveled all that much until there was all-star sort of conglomerate teams going, and so nowadays the landscape has changed quite a bit in terms of the level of participation and the complexity of where you go and those types of things. So tell us a little bit about the traveling team and how many of them are fielded. And
that's correct. I mean, with our travel, I mean it turns into a weekend thing. I mean, it's all tournaments on the weekends, and we travel out west as far as Hayes, and we go out to Kansas City and Wichita some and everywhere in between. Our goal at some time for our older kids anyways is to get into some prospect tournaments. Our hope is to try to find some better baseball for those kids and get them in front of college coaches and different schools to give them an opportunity to possibly play past high school.
Sure.
That's something that's been pretty exciting around is the number of kids that's showed interest in baseball, and the skill level and the talent level is jumped over quite a few years, and I want to see those kids have an opportunity to play past high school if they can.
Sure.
So yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't that long ago that here in Abilene we didn't even have a high school baseball team.
Correct. It was my junior year.
It was
my junior year, which was 2000. So we've gone. Yeah. So it's we was also a big part of my parents and the Fenimas, and everybody was a big part of getting that thing started. And
so 2000 is when it started
2000 was the first year of high school baseball since Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Oh, is that right?
So yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
Wow, that's interesting. Well, and what do you think? What do you think is kind of fueling the interest in the kids? I mean, I guess there's enough kids coming out that you can, and you see it with softball. I know.
Right.
You know, adult softball leagues used to be big, but they're not as big now as they were. Yep. But certainly the kids, and so. You know, what do you think are the factors to that?
I don't know. And I think, obviously, the Royals had their big run in 14-15, and I think you could play in on some of that. But I don't know. Times changed and interest changed a lot though too, and I don't. Kids enjoy playing the game.
Yeah.
I don't. It's.
It's kind of what you do in the summer.
It really is.
It should be. It should be what you do in the summer. Let's put that and fishing, right? That's the two. That's the two things.
Yeah.
You
and
got to
that's
be
the great
doing.
thing about our league teams here too is they get the opportunity to play in an environment where they play during the week time usually. We play surrounding areas. I'm not sure how many teams we had this year, but it's typically Chapman, Solomon, Harrington, Council Grove, kind of some Riley area, kind of that direction.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're getting to build relationships and see athletes from other towns and experience playing baseball in the summertime.
Yeah.
And not at a highly competitive arena like we play on weekends with the travel kids. But there's still an opportunity for all of these young children to be involved in the game of baseball and make friends and play with their friends and enjoy summertime and eat sunflower seeds and do what kids do in the summertime, and that's great to see. Yeah,
it's interesting to see what the kids can get up to in between games, because sometimes if they're at a tournament, they finish a game, they've got 3 hours before the next one. That's when all the horseplay starts, but that's what being a kid is about, give them that environment, and I think we all remember doing those things. So. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and the travel teams, lots of places to go and different facilities to see. And I know right now there's some talk about maybe having some facility improvements in Abilene. As a parent, a coach, and an organizer, what do you think that impact is on the community? That you've impacted other communities by going places. What does that do to our local economy, for instance?
Well, I think some of the big things that we can talk about when we talk about, like, take for instance our home tournament. When we host our home tournament here in the second weekend in May, we fill the parking lots, and people, you have a 3-hour break in between games. You run to Subway, you run to the grocery store, you just go grab gas or go grab something at the convenience store. And so we're bringing, those outside people into our community and boosting the business in our community. And we're not, we're raising funds for our community, and it's not tax dollars. It's not, some of those kinds of things. And we want to continue to do that and be able to provide those opportunities for businesses in our town. And so, I think facility-wise, we're a little bit limited. It's hard to kind of run a 2-day tournament here. We don't have a lot of hotel space. That's tough unless they're local teams that can drive within driving distance. We have to go other places and play in better facilities. They have staff. They have some of those things that can help facilitate some of that. And that's a challenge for a community like ours, an aging community, a farming community and things like that. So we have some challenges ahead of us, but I think if we all come together and work together to try to see how we can improve economic development, maybe that is a way for big business here in town to draw people in when they're recruiting people to come and work here, move here, live here, what amenities do we have and what services are we giving? And we're just one small piece of what we can give.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and anytime there's a visitor to town, the entire town needs to put their best foot forward. And just, I don't know what the numbers are, but if you just figure that each team probably has 11 to 13 kids,
Yep.
Yep.
and you figure they've each got 2 parents coming, sometimes grandparents, sometimes little siblings,
Yeah.
and they're all going to McDonald's and they're all going here and there, and so the impact of having let's say a bracket of 12 teams, I mean that's you start multiplying that together, and that's a big effect.
In the future, it'd be great if we could host maybe 2 or 3 tournaments over the summer instead of just the one we have in May, and it would be nice too to have an overnight tournament. I mean that's another thing, so.
And improved facilities help softball. It's not just baseball either.
Sure.
It helps softball teams. They're able to host tournaments here a lot more frequently.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of constituents and a lot of factors that come into this, but it also benefits a pretty wide variety of people.
And there are teams that come from, I mean, and this was with the 8U that I played in, that my son played in. We had Hayes, Hutchinson, Emporia, Topeka, and so people are traveling great distances, and they're not going to want to turn around and make that hour, 2-hour drive.
Right.
So yeah, I think they do certainly stay here, and so having the 2-day, as you mentioned, would definitely have an impact on that. So yeah, absolutely. So you can't run an organization like this without a bunch of volunteers and a bunch of coaches, right? And I've seen parents chip in lots of different ways in the organization. Talk about the coaching core. It seems like it's pretty dedicated to come out and coach every other day, do all the tournaments and all of that. And I know you're probably maybe even involved with more than one team coaching.
Well, I mean, I've got you
got a couple of them in there, don't you?
I help out, or I coach our 12U, and I help out with their 8, and I'm also the high school coach. And, but yeah, we've got tons of dads. I think most of our coaches are dads for the most part, and they do a great job. And I mean, the big part is they love working with the kids and love the game of baseball is the big thing. So yeah, I mean, everybody does a great job, and whether it's moms or relatives that help out, I mean, it's.
I've spent many hours out here fielding, hitting balls, catching balls when we're pitching, being in the batting cages. I mean, if that's something that your kids have a passion for and love to do, parents will go out of their way to help, see their kids' dreams come true. And so, it does take a lot of volunteers to put together the kinds of teams that we're doing. Even in the rec league, most of those are probably parents also that are, spending their weeknights practicing 2 to 3 nights a week until game times, playing a couple of games a night. We have to have a good core of umpires, and that's becoming tougher and tougher.
I'll bet that,
We're not seeing people coming out in big, massive numbers to umpire games, so there's huge shortages.
Yeah.
So we have a good core group of people who umpire, too, that we can call on and can say, hey, we're running these games, let's get these things scheduled. Volunteers, we try to do our part. It's not always the baseball fields that we're at. A couple of weeks ago, we went downtown with Abilene Forward and cleaned up downtown and helped out down there. It's hard sometimes for these young kids to be able to give back in a way that some of us adults can, and so when there are opportunities for that kind of thing, we can get the kids involved, and the kids can see, hey, this is impacting our community, and we can be involved and make a difference in our community, and we can show businesses and citizens of the community that we're responsible and we want to help and see things progress and move forward. We participated with Smart Insurance and Noah's Band-Aid project.
Correct.
So there are lots of ways that we try, besides volunteering our time as coaches and umpires, to get involved in the community with our volunteer time.
Yep. And to stress again, this is completely privately funded. I mean, it's all donations and the parents putting that on, and so it's commendable. And I know there are, if you're at any event in Abilene and you see the Abilene Baseball Club, partake in what they're doing and provide that kind of donation. It's got, I don't know how many boys are in the program. It's
I think we figured
150
this last
maybe.
year there's probably close to an average of 130 or 140
Right.
between, we didn't count T-ball because that's part of the Parks and Rec now,
Right.
not
Yeah.
ABC's umbrella, but basically from that age group that Coach Bartley talked about from 8 to 18, that was all of our Mustang Bronco pony teams in the Dickinson County Little League, and then the 8U to Senior Babe Ruth on the travel side. So that's quite a few number of boys who are out playing the sport and giving back in the community.
Yeah, well, that's great. It gives them something positive energy
That's
to
right.
do, something positive to do.
Yeah.
Get that energy out, and so
Yeah.
they're not tearing the house up
That's
and things
right.
like that, in the backyard, and
Exactly.
terrorizing the dog and those things.
Yeah.
But well, I greatly appreciate it. Is there anything else you think the viewer on the other side of that camera right there might be interested in? How do they find you? You got a Facebook page, right?
We do have a Facebook page. Most of it has most of our contact information on it. At least executive team is there. Most of us are around. We're parts of other organizations. You can call the high school and have access to Coach Bartley through the high school also. Probably have an email address somewhere on the high school page. There's an app. We do have 2 fundraisers that we do every year. So in the spring, we solicit and businesses can participate. I took the banners down, but typically on the outfield fences, there's banners and things like that. October 12th, so in 4 weeks or so, we'll be hosting our first annual Dingers and Divots golf tournament to benefit ABC. So that's at the Great Life Golf Course here in town. All those proceeds will go to paying umpires and equipment costs,
yep.
uniforms, travel team fees, all of those kinds of things that help make this organization run. We're really excited to be able to put an annual event together that is fun for the community to be involved in and just really be able to go out and have a good time. We're getting the kids involved, so the kids will be out there.
Yeah.
So we're really, really excited about the future of baseball here in Abilene and what the core group has been able to accomplish moving forward.
Yeah. Well, and being a first-year parent in it, I've been very impressed with the way the whole thing has worked and the communication that's out there and just the camaraderie, the kids knowing what the older kids are doing and wanting to see how they're doing. And so there's the multi-levels are all supporting each other in this thing, and that's really neat to see.
A lot of fun, yeah.
So,
a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, Annie and Travis,
you.
Yep.
hey,
Thank you.
glad to have you guys on today. Once again, you've been watching Our Town here on Channel 2 with Eagle Broadband. You can also catch this program on our YouTube page, ECTV. And I'm James Holland, your host. So we will see you next time.